So I have conversations with myself a lot, and I know a lot of people might think that's crazy or whatever it may be, but I think the most important thing that you can do is have realistic conversations with yourself. Now, you can't sit there in an echo chamber, of course, and a second opinion from a reliable and trusted source is obviously always a good thing. But it's not a bad thing to talk to yourself either and have, real conversations with yourself. I think the problem is that a lot of people don't know how to interact with themselves or be with their own thoughts. And that brings me to what I want to talk about today. You see, I've had a problem with uploading to well over 10 years, not even just recently. I think my last upload was maybe like 2 weeks ago. And the last time I uploaded, I told myself, oh, this is it. I was feeling good because I recorded like 4 videos back to back to back. All the videos, basically all the past like 3 or 4 videos that I uploaded, I recorded them all at the same time because in an ideal world, that's how I would do things. I would record a bunch and just have all of this free reign to express all of these thoughts and, put them out for the world to see and for the world to hear. And, what I realized is that a lot of the stuff that I say has to do just as much with me as it does to anybody that hears this. So I want to talk about not forcing things. And the reason why I have been so inconsistent is because I do try to force things. And that's not even with just content. That's real life, just everything in life, whether it's working out, whether it's eating healthy, whether it's all of these things where I get into this mode of hardcore determination and it leads to this state of perpetual burnout where after a while I can't stand to do anything anymore. And I don't want that for this. The whole point of me making this channel specifically is because I want to be free. I want to have free thoughts and the ability to speak and say whatever it is I need to say, whether it's coherent or not. That's another thing too. Trying to keep things coherent and in some form of a theoretical or I guess metaphorical single file line in terms of like talking points. And I've tried writing scripts and I've tried doing all this stuff and none of it has netted anything because it's all forced. I don't have to force myself to be free or creative because that's always how I've lived my life. But the problem is that to get a certain, I guess, get to a certain point depending on what ecosystem you want to thrive in, you do have to sit down and put yourself in like some sort of a routine or some sort of a box or a niche, or at least that's what people tell you. You get into what do they call it? Lock-in culture, where you lock in and you do a specific thing, you set a routine, and you do a plan, and you do all these things, and it's never been me. Not saying that I don't ever plan for anything, and not saying that I can't. I'm a very good short-term planner. Long-term, not so much, but a short-term plan, especially when it comes to stuff like finances or fitness, I can do that. But what I'm realizing is that the more and more I try to force, the more and more I avoid things, because then I get into that perfectionist mindset where everything has to be exactly the way that I envision it. Like everything has to be the final product that I see in my head. And that's problematic because what it does is it's forcing you or it's telling you that it's okay to skip the process, or you get so excited for the result that you forget about the process, or you get frustrated with the process when things don't turn out the way that the way that you envision them. Because I've had visions of what my life would look like and who I want to be, and all that everything that I want to be and do comes with a grueling process. And I'm not saying that discipline is not necessary, because it is, but what I am saying is that when you confuse discipline with God, what's the term I want to use? I think the term that I want to use here is something along the lines of what's a good I can't think of the term. If I come back to it, if I remember it, I'll come back to it. But the point is that we're so quick, and us as people, as individuals, as creators, or whatever it is that you want to consider yourself, or however you want to like label or frame this, and also us as in the consumers, the people that watch the content that we create or purchase the products or critique and judge and all of these things. We're so quick to put each other in a box that if you exist in that box, if you're me, if you're someone like me, if you exist in that box, you're going to want to fit that box to a T. You want to do everything perfectly. And here's the thing, perfect don't exist. It don't exist in any facet. There is nothing. We like to say no one is perfect, but the truth is nothing is perfect. Nothing. Not a single thing on this earth that we live on will ever be perfect, because perfect is all perception. It's all perception. You could perceive something to be, or someone to be perfect, and to someone else it could be the most flawed thing in the world, or not as what it was hyped up to be. And the point is that when you get to that perfectionist mindset, it creates this paralysis that you struggle to fight against. And I've struggled and I've struggled and I've struggled, and I'm not going to struggle no more with it. And that goes with every facet of life. It's not just with this content stuff. I do want to do this. Okay. I think that's the first time I've really said it out loud and been completely honest about it. I've always played it as, oh, it's just something I'm going to do, and, whatever happens, happens. And to a degree, it is still that, but it's also something that I'm doing because it's something that I wanted to do. It's something that I've wanted to do. If it was up to me, I would have been started, my content years and years ago. And of course it is up to me. Here's the thing. I've been making content for a long, long time, like all the way back in high school, back in the early days of YouTube, so to say, back in like 2012, across multiple different channels. And I have content out there that probably still exists that I forgot about, and content that doesn't exist anymore. But I've never once said that, this is something that I want to do. And it's something I'm going to do because I feel something here. I feel something here. I don't know how else to explain it, but I feel like a spark. Even when it gets hard for me to get on this microphone, because even right now, as I'm free flowing these thoughts and just talking off the top of my head, because that's all this is. It's a rant. It's an incoherent ramble, whatever you want to call it. It's a yap session. It's whatever you want to call it, but it was still hard for me to turn on this microphone. And I just don't think it needs to be that way, because this is something that I do want, and it's something that I want to do, So the overarching point of all this is just don't force things as hard, and go where it feels natural, and be honest with yourself. Be as honest with yourself as you can. And like I said, these videos are just as much for me as it is for anybody that chooses to listen to them. So hopefully somebody can take something away from anything that I've been saying, or even if I'm just some background noise while you do something else, I'm more than appreciative of it. But I do this for me, and I'm going to keep doing it. Ideally, I would love to upload super consistently, but the way I am, and like I said, with not forcing it, it's just one of those things where if it happens, it does happen, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But I appreciate every step along the way that I take, and every step that a person that, someone out there is willing to take with me. And that's more or less all I have to really say about it. Don't succumb to perfectionism, and don't succumb to choice paralysis. There's a lot that you can offer to this world, and that goes for both you and me.